everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and today I actually have two guests on the show. So before we introduce them, I wanted to share with you guys, if you didn't see my YouTube video yet, on my personal YouTube page, my vlog channel, I shared a really exciting health update on my health journey. You guys know I've been sharing my health journey for the past however many months. You know, this year I've been very open about where I've been at, just physically, mentally, personally, and all the methods I've been trying, what I've been doing, how most of the things that I was trying just simply weren't working. And in the recent health update, I share how I've literally regained my health back. I literally feel like there's a light switch on inside of me that was turned off for so long, and I feel like it's on again. I feel when I'm in the gym that I like have my fight back again, and that's something that I haven't felt in so long. And as someone who is an elite athlete, I love training. I love everything that I do. To not have that fight or not have that passion for it was really disheartening. It was really hard to go through, not to mention all of the mental things I was going through as well. So if you guys want to see the full update on that, definitely check out that YouTube video. I will place the direct link in the show notes below. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, it's on my personal page, not on the podcast YouTube page. Anything you need to know is going to be in the links below. So no worries, just click the link. Now, moving on to today's show, I wanted to intro it that way because I have actually decided to have on both of two people from the company that I've been working with, Transcend, to kind of share a little bit more about their stories and, you know, them regaining their own health back and what has made them passionate about helping other people regain their health and their lives back. So let's go ahead and welcome to the show. First, we have Jesse Kessler. He is the company partner and director of patient services. So he handles all things branding, marketing, digital space, client relations, and so much more. And he's actually the person that I've personally been working with, the person that gave me hope over the phone when I was in a really low spot, telling me, you will get better, I promise. And I just had to hold on to that hope. And he was also one of the first people I texted when I felt so much better. And I was like, you will not believe how I'm feeling. And he was like, yes, I will. Without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome on Jesse Kessler. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. That's awesome. Great introduction.
Yeah, no problem. It's been amazing getting to know you, and it's been just really awesome because it's funny how, you know, you're client relations, right? So you're working with us most of the time, and it's funny how we start this communication with like, these are the things that are wrong. You know, you're helping me figure out the protocol, and then just that update, being able to give you that update was just so awesome. I feel like you instantly become friends because you're like, you gave me my life back. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt the exact same way though. I knew, like you said, I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. And that's why we love what we get to do here.
That's awesome.
To give you your life back, and just seeing your excitement was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. I know that feeling too. You know, that's what makes the work that I do really fulfilling is when I see my clients actually get those results. So I know what you're talking about. And I love that that's where y'all's hearts are at, because when you're driven by the results that your clients get, that's when you're in the right thing. I think that's when you know you're in the right field.
Every day, and we want to just be able to spread this word.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do that today. Well, so the second guest that we have on for today is Ernest Colling. He is actually in Army infantry. He worked in intelligence agencies, had multiple times overseas, and he is the chief executive officer of Transcend. He has an incredible story going from literally not being able to walk without a walker to lifting 500 plus pounds in the gym with no pain. Not mustering through the pain, not pushing through the pain, but now with no pain. So he has his own incredible story that I'm excited to share with you guys today. So Ernest, welcome to today's show.
Thank you, Emily. Again, great introduction. That was awesome.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm super stoked to talk to you guys today and just to share a little bit more about your stories and share more about what got you so passionate about helping people regain their health and their life back through this certain type of therapy. So, first, Ernest, I would love to start with you and kind of just get into your personal journey and your personal story, going way back to, you being in the military and your deployments and kind of what that experience was and what it was like getting out of the military and what you experienced afterwards. So kind of take us on a little Ernest journey.
Okay, I will do the best I can to consolidate it. It's a long story, but going back, obviously, way back to the early 2000s, in my time in the military, infantry, all those fun things. Um, you know, did the whole whirlwind deployment and then out, so to speak. So I was a one tour and done guy, which was great. It was a great experience for me. It changed my life, made me a better person. I loved it. But it was very quick after getting back to civilian life that I realized this I'm not ready for this yet, and I didn't really want to go back, but the contracting world overseas was getting pretty hot, and people were able to go in, become private security contractors, or work in intelligence, or work as logistics folks, or you name it, there was a job. And at 24 years old, a job was great. That's what I needed. So I went back, did private security, went back to Iraq. Wasn't with the greatest of um, units and companies, and it didn't turn out great. So I ended up heading back, getting on with a company that was supporting INSCOM, which is the Intelligence Command for the United States Army. They had several different programs and things like that we were working on, and I instantly deployed back with them. Did another year, which was like 2005, 2006. Went back and actually got to work in the headquarters. So wow. I spent several years kind of supporting the warfighter from where I was back in the Reston, Virginia area. And then I had an opportunity to go to Afghanistan and switch to another, area of the program. So I took it, went back, and then spent about 20 months there. Wow. In like the Logar Wardak province, which was south of Kabul, probably about 100 miles or so. Definitely an interesting place. Very unforgiving, but again, great experience, great people. Got to do what I love to do, which was, be a part of the mission and do kind of the things that mattered, so to speak. I came back, started working again at headquarters, and another opportunity came up. My clearance had been finalized or came through, so to speak, because there's whole different kinds of levels and things you can get right onto. It's a, kind of a crazy process. But when it happened, I was able to go to this other agency, and it was the COIC, which was an agency that essentially gathered intelligence on terrorist networks that were designing bombs or IEDs or, other threats that were, to take out U.S. interest. Wow. So I deployed with them several times in Afghanistan, and, it was awesome. Ended up being like 2 in Iraq and 5 in Afghanistan or something along those lines. But when I got done, I was getting ready to gear up for the 8th deployment. My wife really kind of pushed me aside here and said, it's probably time to look at doing something else. She was concerned about my health. She was concerned about my mental health. She was concerned about a lot of things. And, she was always supportive, always there for me, never questioned anything. And there were times that, I'd just be like, hey, I got to go. Like, I'll see you in a couple months. Wow. I can't tell you where I'm going. That's that, and eventually come home and things were great. So it was a unique experience. Ended up going into business just as a program manager, so to speak, for IT, in the civilian world, which it was okay. It was something different. I got to lead a team, connect people together. But it was the work itself that I couldn't get behind. Going from something like national security, going into something like food distribution or into retail and all the e-commerce things behind it and what drives it. It didn't work for me.
It sounds to me like you're a very purpose-driven individual, and maybe that's why you thrived with, like you said, having that team and that mission and doing things that were really important. So it kind of makes sense to me when I hear that you're in a position where it's like food distribution is not that like, it doesn't have that much purpose in it for you personally, right?
Absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head. I need to know that I'm doing something for the greater good.
Yeah.
It's like this intrinsic need that if I'm not doing something to help or make something better, then what value am I bringing back to, society? I'm not necessarily doing something that's going to, leave a mark for others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you were in that and finding yourself in this position of basically feeling unfulfilled, feeling like you lack purpose, what did that do for like your mental health, your relationships, just how you were experiencing everyday life at that point?
So I would say throughout the deployments and leading up into actually exiting and going just into the private sector, definitely had bouts of PTSD, definitely had bouts of depression, a lot of drinking, a lot of things that I looking back on really regret in life. But, it's one of those byproducts of doing that kind of work. I'm not happy that it happened, but, it did. But just taking that time and hearing from my wife what was important to her that we got out of it, it kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of see two things. One, I was in immense physical pain from the years of battering my body and back issues and everything else, and obviously my mental state was not in the best places. So I tried to get with a life coach and somebody that was doing coaching for people to do competitions, bodybuilding, things like that. And I was working really hard. I was getting nowhere, no results, nothing.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, and it went on for about a year, and then finally, my coach was like, "Hey, man, have you your levels checked? Have you done this? Have you done that?" Never even thought about it, and the answer obviously was no.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in, find a local clinic, and as soon as I got to the clinic, they went through all these things that were wrong with my levels and what I needed to do. So we went on therapy, and within just a few weeks, I could already start feeling different. I had the energy. I didn't have the brain fog. I was actually able to get a good night's rest.
Mm-hmm.
And all those things were, amazing. It was almost like it was too much. And
Wow.
then the pain started to drop, and then I started to gain mental clarity. The fog was lifting. All those things kind of hit me at once,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to kind of establish a path. Like, okay, now that I can kind of separate the emotions and the things that have happened to me in the past, and why I'm doing these other behaviors, now I can go and seek counseling and get the right
Mm-hmm.
therapy and to do the things I need to do to put myself in the right light.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to do that successfully while staying on TRT.
Wow.
As with the pain, I was still having a bit of pain. So I went through and changed protocol and had some medications that were added. But as soon as that was done, within just a few weeks, I started noticing that I could, work out again and do things. And I had some, like you mentioned earlier, some serious injuries. I ended up having a back fusion at 34. And it took an entire year to recover from that, to not be able to use a walker or a cane, to
Wow.
being able to walk on a treadmill again. Lifting was kind of always a part of my routine. So losing that was devastating.
Mm-hmm.
But going on therapy and being able to heal,
Mm-hmm.
it brought that element back. It took a while, but slowly but surely, you know, now I'm still lifting, the big lifts that I thought I'd never be able to do again in my life. Things I was doing at 28, 30, I'm 41, and I can actually do better now than I did then.
Wow.
Um,
That's
and
incredible.
without the pain, without the issue, without having 4 days of regret or another injury.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely the best choice for me. As how that fell into a company, actually, the place that I was going to for therapy was going out of business. The physician just didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
Stem cells were the next big thing, so they wanted to move on.
Gotcha.
And I actually partnered up with a couple of the people that were at that clinic, and we started our own. And it didn't work out from a leadership perspective. We had different philosophies on things,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how I got to know Jesse in the industry. That he was a competitor and he was doing really well, and I heard a lot of things about him. We had some mutual friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally got to the point where like I was ready to do this again, and I was able to link up with Jesse and make him an offer he couldn't refuse. I had to have him for a lot of reasons. As I mentioned once, he built a book of business worth over $1 million on his own through nothing but customer service, word of mouth, and helping people. And that's the kind of person I wanted on the team. I wanted somebody who cared about people, somebody that was able to legitimately understand the needs, that could work well with others and bring them together so we could scale this and actually make it a viable company. I took all that tech and IT background, e-commerce background that I had, and we kind of put that into a social platform and worked with influencers and brought the company out, focusing on education. So giving us purpose, giving us direction, giving us the ability to help and educate, and just make people feel better. I mean, what better type of business can you have? One that actually helps people 100% recover from injury and feel better.
Wow.
So kind of the long and short of it, but
No,
that's where we got.
That's incredible. And I have to say, you did such an incredible job of giving us a summary and tying that all together. And it makes complete sense why you are now so happy and so fulfilled doing what you love to do. So I think that's incredible. And Jesse, from your perspective, being somebody who clearly has all of the, skills and the drive and the passion and the relations to kind of go your own route, do whatever it is that you want to do. Why is it that you chose to pair with Ernest and with Transcend?
Well, I know I mentioned to you the previous time I worked in multiple clinics in the past. A lot of them were cookie cutter or raise their prices or just overall not doing it right. A lot of these places, in my opinion, do not do things the most educated way or with the right physicians. So we wanted to put together that right piece to share our information when it comes to Ernie. I know he could talk a lot, but when it comes to my passion and my purpose, I can talk a lot too, like about the medications and how they can help you or what they do. Since we work with hundreds of different medications, it gives us the right tools to be able to help so many people, pretty much everywhere. Everything's based at a based at the hormonal level, but then we have other things like peptides, right? You kind of know a little bit about, but it's my job to teach you more, right? But when it comes to Ernie, he's a phenomenal business partner. He actually was a client for just a little part of time, but that's because he is always 3 steps ahead of everything, if not 10, because of his background as well. So he already knew what he was doing a long time ago. He wanted to grab me a long time ago. But I just knew from years of working in customer service and doing things that I didn't want to actually do, being able to find something that I truly loved and was passionate about. And one of the biggest things as well is being able to bring community, our new family, our work family here, and to see that they're all passionate about the same thing is absolutely incredible. To see how everybody every single day is smiling and knowing that they're changing others' lives too, it's infectious.
Yeah. Oh man, that's incredible. So just thinking about the different, clients that you guys work with, what is your client base? Because I feel like sometimes people will hear about this mode of therapy and they'll think that it's only for one certain type of group or, one certain type of person, or even maybe that it's gender oriented. So who are the people that would actually benefit from this type of therapy?
Everybody really, because we're not just doing HRT, TRT, we're doing health optimization. So everybody that is, an athlete or doing something in business or something in their life, if there's something they want to improve, your markers are going to tell us where you're at. Our physicians and their experience and our coaches are going to be able to look at that and design a protocol to meet your needs and your budget. A lot of the patients do have some sort of medical need when it comes to their ailment or some sort of pain or some sort of mental fatigue. So we always address the issue first and then look to optimize after that. But we have healthy people that are coming in that just want to be able to do more to be better. We have people that run an Ironman and want to be able to do it, better than they did last year and recover from it. A lot of our influencers that we work with, they're athletes or they're former pro athletes, and now they're doing the same thing. They want to stay at their peak, so that's what we're doing. We're keeping them there. One more thing I wanted to touch on too, when Jesse was talking about the team and the people we brought together at Transcend, I didn't want to skip over, was a company culture. So the one thing that Jesse and I and my wife, who's also a partner in the company, and a couple of the early employees that we brought in, we hire based on culture and fit. And then we can go and teach somebody, what we're doing and how we're doing it. it's about work ethic. It's about serving, the community. It's about making sure you're doing the right thing, working together as a team, supporting each other, having a positive environment. And I get it. Those are all the buzzwords, but we actually do that here.
Right.
I could say, I could walk into anybody's office any point in time, where they could walk into ours. Everyone's got a smile on their face. Everyone's happy to be here. That's the way we want to keep it.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not, when you have clients telling you left and right, oh my God, this is what's happened, like that's the best feeling in the world.
You'd think so. A lot of the companies that are similar to ours, they really try to make themselves financially viable. And they do that by really raising prices and doing a lot of things.
So I experienced that firsthand. I had talked to some people earlier this year about, working with them. And my dad is a naturopathic doctor, and he's very well experienced with, hormones and things like that. So I showed him what the price list was. And he was like, oh, absolutely not. Don't even blink in that direction, And I was like, okay, yeah, there's no way, And when I got y'all's, I actually had to double check it. And I had to ask him, I was like, is this correct? Is this the right price? And Jesse was like, yes. And I was like, wait, but that's so fair. And he's like, yeah.
If you can't help people and you can't get them to be able to afford the therapies, then you're not going to be really successful in what you're trying to accomplish. And with the experience I had, contract negotiation and going in and working and partnering with, pharmacies across the U.S. So the good thing is we are licensed in all 50 states. Our physicians carry licenses that reach, every corner. And we're able to work with several different pharmacies that have dispensary licenses that obviously cover that as well. Partnering with just a few versus the many has given us the leverage of buying power to make sure that we're getting our costs down. And instead of just eating that as a profit, we turn around and actually pass that on to the customer. I mean, we still keep the margin we need in order to grow and to do the things that we need to do. But, we also take money to be able to put in to do things that we care about, projects off to the side, whether it's with our staff or with, a cause that we're looking into. There's a couple charities we're looking to work with. And then the rest of it, we pass on to the customer.
Yeah. And I think that's incredible because you guys are looking at this not just from such a tunnel vision standpoint of, okay, let's get to our end line, no matter what. And you guys are really looking at it from a full picture, right? Like, let's have the culture that we want, the family that we want. Let's have the clients and the great relationships with them. And I think what I'm recognizing in you guys is something that, I've been really lucky to experience with some other brands that I've been involved with for a long time in the industry that I'm in. For example, First Form, I was with them from, I was one of their first athletes, right? And looking back then, I could see all the things that they're doing and what they've created now. And I definitely have seen a lot of the same characteristic traits in you guys as a brand and as a company. And so I think it's really beautiful to see, you guys paving your own way in your industry and what you're doing. So I want to get into just mentioning a few of the things. And like I mentioned previously, if people want to watch my health update, they can go to my YouTube channel. But I wanted to mention just some of the symptoms that I was feeling and just quickly mention, where I'm at now. A few of the symptoms. One was trouble concentrating, fatigue, low energy, exhaustion, increased sensitivity to cold, weight gain, inability to lose weight, muscle weakness, muscle aches, tenderness, stiffness, pain and stiffness, swelling in joints, thinning hair, depression, impaired memory, fatigue, cramps, depression. A lot of these are repeated because there's multiple things that were off that were causing these things. But I really wanted to mention those symptoms in general because I think sometimes people can have one symptom and they just allow it to be a part of their lives, right? They're constantly exhausted and they just think like, oh, I just need more coffee. Let me just have more coffee. Let me try an energy drink. And then they don't sleep well and they have problems sleeping. And all of a sudden they have accepted this as their reality without looking for more solutions. So I think it's vitally important for everybody just to have a moment of self-awareness and ask yourself, what am I currently experiencing on a day-to-day basis? What have I labeled as my norm? And get your note section out of your phone and write down the things that you're experiencing. Are you always tired with no explanation, even if you do get good sleep? Do you never have endurance during the gym? Are you always experiencing this like fog over your brain where you can't think clearly, you can't form free-flowing sentences? What are these things that you're experiencing? Are you someone who just doesn't feel as good as you used to feel and it's on a daily basis? We're not talking about a bad day. We're talking about this is your regular life. You know, if you're experiencing different symptoms like this, that is not the way that you have to live your life. And that's something that all three of us are in the whole company. We're all really passionate about sharing with other people, because I think too often people go throughout their lives accepting lesser than what they should. They accept pain and suffering and all these things, like quite literally. It could be back pain from an injury. It could be knee pain. It could be joints or whatever. It could be an injury you had or just something that you're experiencing. Don't sit there and accept that as your reality. Like, look for solutions. So what would you guys say to somebody who is living in that, where they have these symptoms, they don't really know why, they don't know what to do? What would be their first step to kind of going down that path of figuring out, you know, how to get results that they're looking for?
Jesse, I'm going to take this one and then I'll let you jump in as well, of course. But what I want to say too is it's not just for the physical, of course, it's also for the, you know, those mental issues. As I was saying, I experienced a lot of things, and because of hormonal imbalance, your judgment and the way you react to something is never going to be the same. So I've literally seen, even in myself and others, you know, couples and people that were having all sorts of different issues. Once their levels got right, the relationship improved immensely. So it's not just about the physical. I want to make sure that, you know, we kind of put that out there as well. Hormones affect everything in your body and your mood, probably more than anything.
I think that's huge. Sorry, I really want to reiterate what you just said. I'm so glad you stopped me and said that, because it's so true. Like, I definitely was experiencing a lot of my own mental struggles as well. Depression was probably the biggest one, but I really hope people are hearing that, because sometimes they can think, oh, I just have, and they label themselves with these different mental issues, when in reality, it's like, have you checked your hormones? Do you know if your hormones are off? Because you might not actually have that labeled thing. Maybe your levels aren't in order. So I just wanted to reiterate that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And I'd also say, for those that have already gone physician, their primary care, or went to an endocrinologist and didn't get the results you want, what they're doing is they're looking at the bell curve, right? They're looking at the set of markers on a lab, and they're saying, this fits insurance or this doesn't fit insurance, and because of that, I'm not going to treat you. Or you're not necessarily where we think you would be, where it's an actual, you know, diagnosis code that we can use to do something with. That's not how we operate. So we have our own independent labs. You know, we have contracts with LabCorp and Quest Diagnostics nationwide. We can get you anywhere you're at. And we take that information, those markers, and then everything we do is customized to the patient. So we're actually doing a protocol based on your needs and your markers. It's not pellets or something along the line where it's going to be cookie cutter. That's just not how we do it. So I would say, if you've gone down this route before and you didn't get the results you want, I would definitely recommend coming back to us and giving us an opportunity. If you go through and you just have an experience that's horrible and you don't think that we helped you, then we'll refund you, definitely.
Wow.
But to this date, I do not recall refunding anybody because of them not feeling good about the treatments, or not feeling they got the customer service they deserved, or, you know, getting their medications on time, or you name it. You know, from the time we establish contact with a patient to the time they get their medications and ongoing care, we're always there checking in, making sure everybody's okay. We have an entire team of coaches. Their entire job is to call you and say, how you doing? Are you good today?
That's awesome.
You know, what else can we do for you? Okay, you're good? Great. We'll keep calling. But yeah, I would definitely recommend just go to the website and fill out an intake form, and then we can get you an intake appointment. It only takes about 10 minutes, and we can go from there. And I know you believe you have links too. So if they go through your links, that would be probably very helpful for them.
Yeah, we'll have a custom link for everybody down in the description box and also in the show notes, depending on where you're listening to this. So check out my link. I also have a code Emily20, and that'll save you some money off of your initial contact with the physician. So Jesse, any input on that?
Yeah, thank you. One other thing I wanted to touch on is anxiety. So a lot of people experience anxiety, and I am one who does as well. And one of the main reasons I found over the years is lower hormones. So I went and got my testosterone checked, and I was extremely low. And I couldn't even drive my car down the road somewhere unfamiliar. I would have an anxiety attack.
Wow.
And then I was experiencing these all the time. So if you bring these levels up to optimal levels, not ridiculous levels, ones that are seen by the physician, you can pretty much get rid of these things. So we test things like your different testosterones, your different thyroids, your DHEA, for women, progesterone, estradiol, your human growth hormone, inflammation markers. So we do a very extensive hormonal panel that not many physicians do. And it's our job to educate you at the same time so you can make the right decision for yourself too. So it's a team effort.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what you say because I have personal experience with that where I went to the doctor, just a regular physician, and asked my hormones to be tested. And they did the most basic, the most generic test where they were just like, I mean, you're a little low, but you're totally fine. Like you're completely fine, right? And so from that test, it looked like there's nothing wrong. And I actually remember getting my results back, and it sounds weird, but there was a part of me that kind of wished that it showed that there was something wrong because I felt so bad. I was like, there has to be a reason, right? And you're just looking for like that reason of like what's going on. And I remember when I got the results and they were like, no, you're totally fine. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going crazy then, you know? And then when I found out that it wasn't like a comprehensive panel, it didn't test truly like everything that we needed, that made a lot more sense. And when I did that one, everyone was very clear on it. They were like, this is not a good situation. I remember Jesse's like, are you okay? I'm like, no.
Was worried. I was like, man, Emily's really cool. I want to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. I was like, no, help. No, I think that's such a good point to bring up because a lot of people, you know, probably have the same experience as me. They probably got their hormones tested and didn't do the comprehensive panel and they think everything's fine and that it's something else. But it just goes to show you that you really have to make sure you're looking at the full picture of everything in order to get, you know, a clear picture of what's going on inside. So, yeah, that's definitely something I think everybody should do, regardless if you're an elite athlete or if you're just a regular human being that, you know, wants to see where you're at. I think it's an important thing, a part of health in general is just to see where you're at. And if you get your results back and you're great and there's nothing to really do, then awesome. Check it in the next year or so. How often do you guys recommend people check their hormones?
Jesse, we do right on the initial, and then we do a 4-month follow-up, and then after that, depending on the follow-up, it can be 6 months after the follow-up, and then usually 6 months from that point on, as long as the therapies are going well.
Gotcha.
Sometimes we want to add or take medications away or do things differently, then we'll go ahead and add another panel or get just a specific test for something we're looking at. We try to keep it as minimal as possible, you know, because it's for the patient, it can be expensive if they have to continually go to get tests.
Yeah.
So we try to keep that burden down to a minimum. But you know, when it's medically necessary, obviously we're putting it through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. And we also offer food sensitivity and mold testing as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's great. And I know for myself, whenever I first went through and filled out the application, I actually wasn't decided that this is what I was going to do. I just simply wanted to get information and get more education on it and just have a conversation with you guys. So I really appreciated that was just part of the process is like, let's just get on the phone and talk about it and see where you're at and see what this would look like. Choose, you know, if you choose to make this decision. And after all of that, I went and did my own research. I had my own conversations. I had shared it with multiple people that I trusted. And I came to the decision that this was the path that I wanted to take. And, you know, for almost 5 weeks later, I am rocking and rolling. I feel the best that I've felt in literally so long. I literally can't remember the last time that I felt this good on a daily basis. So I am a huge believer and huge supporter for sure.
Thank you. And I know Jesse will second it. We feel the same way in our own personal journeys. And we do it in a way that it's all therapeutic, right? Mm-hmm. So everything's through a position, everything's monitored, everything has labs to back it up. So there's science and good medical, you know, history to what we're doing in our approach. And, you know, we watch it closely. So we expect good results. We expect to see a lot of, you know, success stories based on that. So, you know, I am extremely happy that you're feeling, you know, great, and you know, in more time, you know, you'll go from where you were feeling great before to exceeding that. I'm sure.
Someone told me that too. They were like, just so you know, it gets better, and I was like, wait, what are you talking about? They're like, no, like you feel baseline, you feel just, you know, good now. You're gonna feel great later. I was like, are you sure it gets better?
It gets better.
That's awesome.
It does.
So a few just, I guess, questions and concerns that I personally had when I was asking all my questions. One of them, for example, was, you know, as a female, with doing hormone replacement therapy, is this going to affect my ability to conceive later? Is there, anything that I should be worried about from that stance? So, Jesse, I know we kind of talked a little bit about that. If you want to shed some light on that for women who may be asking the same questions.
No, that is an absolute great question. Nothing to worry about, actually. We use bioidentical hormones, and we also have women physicians, so women can feel more comfortable as well.
Mm-hmm.
We, like I said, check specific markers on the hormones to make sure everything is good and keep those lab values at optimal.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew this, but one of the female physicians actually called me and we talked over the phone too before we even got started. She was like, hey, I just want to double check some things here with you. And I thought that was really cool because I hadn't really been in contact with her that much until then. And I thought it was cool that she followed up with me and wanted to talk about some things and definitely made me feel more confident and secure with what I was doing too.
Oh, that's a great question, because we get that on both sides,
Okay.
for men and women.
Oh, okay.
So we take precautionary steps just to make sure everything's running correctly.
Yeah. And I have to say, after I shared my journey and what I was doing, I had so many people privately reach out to me and say, just so you know, I started HRT and it was the best thing I had done for myself. Like, this therapy is the best. And they had the best things to say. But I guess my questioning is like, why is this feeling like it's a topic that not everybody wants to be super open about? I don't understand it seems like, I don't know if and then I don't know if there's like a stigma or if there's a misunderstanding or an ignorance. But to me, I'm like, this is great. Why would you not talk about it?
Education starts there. So
Yeah.
the stigma goes to you're using bioidenticals to treat people, so it's steroids and it's bad and it's associated with bodybuilding and it can't be therapeutic. And then most of the physicians that are treating patients as primary care, they're not specialized in hormones. And the ones that are specialized in hormones, again, they're going to different guidelines set by insurance companies and pharmaceutical recommendations. And the things that we're using are FDA approved medications, but they're not sold by a lot of the larger pharmacies. So they're just not something that's talked about or necessarily the public's aware of. So the medications you get are actually sent from the compounding pharmacy in the US. So the medication is actually not sitting on the shelf. When you put the prescription order in with us after it's been approved by the physician, it's actually made for you then. So that medication is made for you and then shipped right to your home. So we try to keep it convenient. We try to make sure that we're detailed. We try to make sure that we're efficient, and then obviously cost effective and timely. But the medications are different than what you would normally see with a traditional medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, with the approach that we've done is, treating all of the base hormones because they work together as a system. And I think that's important too, because what I found, even with, going to the doctor previously, they always just wanted to like give me one thing. And so when I came to you guys, I realized that was a different approach that I think has been very helpful. I've really noticed the benefits of that.
Yeah, a lot of times the physicians, they do it's one. Okay, did that work? No. Okay, well, I'm gonna take it away and try the other one. Did that work? No. All that does is elongate the process and take more time. And it's systems working together. So use the medications, the right protocol that's best for the patient, and give them what they need to feel good and feel better. And then monitor them as the treatment goes on. And that's the approach we take. And I haven't seen an approach that's different that I would recommend. So
yeah. Well, you guys are, I think you're the first company that I've come across that are so heart-centered and so client result focused, which I think is really cool because it really shows that you guys celebrate your client wins. So what is the goals of the company, or where is it that you guys as a company want to go?
Vision as a company.
As many people as possible.
Now, I want to be one of the and Jesse, the whole team on leadership here. We want to be not just one of the premier telemedicine providers for HRT. We want to be known as a source of education that you can come to us. But the vision is to be a community. So hashtag Transcend Family for those that have been working with us or want to work with us. Share your stories, put it on Instagram, hashtag the one we just sent here and put it out there. Other people are going to see that, and they're going to see your success story. It's going to help promote and perpetuate people getting better and feeling better. It's about taking the stigma and getting that kind of pushed down so people can actually feel okay about reaching out and doing something about their health. Too many people don't listen to how they feel, to what their body is telling them, and they just put it off, or they make themselves less. They wait for it. Nothing's going to get better until the day you make the decision to go out and do something about it. And we're just trying to enable that for people.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to, go down a route that's going to help you to actually start to feel better versus just mask what it is that you're feeling, right? So many people are experiencing pain of certain sorts, right? So they just take pain medicine. And it's like, there's no shame if you need to do that. But also, why don't you look for a solution that's going to take that pain away or to alleviate it in a long-term stance, not just in the moment when the pill's actually working inside of your body, but why don't we fix what's going on here at the root of it? And I think that's what I see you guys doing, is really getting to the root of the issues, right? Like, it's no accident that you're able to lift over 500 plus pounds on lifts when you used to not even be able to walk without a walker. Like, that's insane. I can't imagine like what your doctors would have said. Did you ever go back to them, by the way, and tell your doctors how you're lifting and that you're pain free? No, I feel like you should.
Well, my the surgeon who did my spine, he did know, and it was kind of funny because I was asking about it, and I going after a year of follow-up to make sure the fusion had healed, and I kind of shared a couple of videos on my phone. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. He's like, I'm not worried about your back. I'm not worried about the fusion here. I'm worried about these other things, like the other non-fused vertebrae and what they would do. But based on what I'm seeing, it looks like you're healthy. It doesn't seem that you're having any issues. You're using good form. Obviously, you built back up to this. If you can do it without pain, and you can do it with, proper technique, then do it.
Hell yeah.
Go for it. And I did, and I'm not going to stop.
Hell yeah.
At least not anytime soon.
That's awesome. Well, hey, is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover on today's show or offer for the audience while we're here?
I just wanted to cover one more thing that we didn't touch on.
Yeah.
We touched on healing, and rebuilding, and mental health. What we didn't touch on was weight loss and fat loss, and what hormones can do as well. So another thing, when these hormones are working together in all cylinders, we find that that's an amazing time for weight loss too. And that's what a lot of people are looking for. So just keep that in mind too when you get your hormones checked. The right ways to check for your thyroid, testosterone, and a couple other hormones as well.
Yeah, such a good point. And again, I have experience with this because I, for the last 2 years, have tried to prep. I'm an IFBB bikini pro, and I've done over 20 shows. And for the last 2 years, I couldn't. I had to stop. I had to pull out of both preps. And this past one was absolutely the worst. And I just got to a point where I just couldn't lose any weight no matter what we did. And I was like, double sessions a day, training hard as hell, dieting really well. It's not like I don't know what to do, right? I've done this 20 times. And when we found that my thyroid was off and all these other hormones, it makes sense because that directly affects your ability to shed fat and lose weight. Your body goes into like survival and storing mode and likes to just store all of the fat in all of the places. Which is really honestly, I kind of laugh about it now, but it was really demoralizing because I was working my butt off in the gym, working as hard as I could. I was dieting, I was doing the work. And for this last prep, I did it for over 8 weeks. So for over 8 weeks, I'm doing double sessions a day. I'm training on top of that. I'm, dieting. I'm really just crushing it. I'm in this push season of life and I'm not seeing results. And that's so disheartening. And I know that so many people listening probably have felt that, or maybe they're feeling it right now where they know they're doing the work. They know that they're dieting. They know that they're doing the cardio and the training and they're not seeing results and they can't figure out why. And they're starting to feel disheartened and defeated by it. And I'm just again going to say, go get your levels tested because you never know.
Yeah, even the ones that are lost motivation that necessarily, we're working out and aren't now, that all this, it goes back down to the same root cause. There's probably something that's just off, in the balance, and it's best to find out what it is, and it's fixable. You don't have to go through life in pain, tired, irritable, and, not having the results that you want. There are definitely viable therapeutic solutions that are available that we can offer you. That I promise, after you've gone through and done it, you'll only wish that you've done it sooner.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I think that's kind of how I feel for sure. Well, thank you guys so much for being on today's show.
Yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Of
We're excited
course.
to have you on our family.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm so
Yes.
excited. I've had such a warm welcome from everybody at Transcend. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone, to all the people I've been DMing as well. We've had little conversations here and there. So I appreciate you guys so much. And for all of my listeners that are listening, if you guys want to take that first step, fill out an application and start getting your hormones looked at and seeing what kind of protocol would work best for you. All you have to do is click the link down below. It will be the application link. So you can go on there, apply, and you'll get set up with your own physician and have your own protocol based off of your goals, your budget, and what it is that you're looking to possibly correct or optimize in your life. So also my code will be down there. Again, it's Emily20, and that'll save you $20 off of the physician fee. So that is today's show. Thank you guys so much for everybody that listened. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Ernest. Thank you, Transcend family. And I hope that today's show has brought more awareness to the fact that you have power and you have control in your life to create a better life for yourself. Don't accept the negativity. Don't accept the pain. Don't accept the suffering. Look for solutions. Maybe this is one for you. We hope that it is. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Evolve with Emily.